I am here to defend my favorite princess and my best friend. I will say that starting in 2015, Disney made the first live action princess movie, and it happened to be Cinderella. And I saw it and I loved it. I never saw it again. That's all I needed, really. First it was Cinderella, then it was Aurora and Maleficent, then Belle and Beauty and the Beast, Jasmine and Aladdin, Mulan, then Ariel. Now we have Snow White. We finally got to her, and look what they've done. I'm not here to bash Rachel Zegler. I frankly don't even really care about the movie that's gonna come out. And I am a die-hard Disney fan. I am a Disney adult. There are so few joys in life right now, and I'm sticking to the one I've known since I can remember. This isn't just about Snow White. In fact, this is about all the princesses I've listed already. This is about all the princesses I haven't talked about yet. I want to make this a princess series. I want to dive deep into these princesses. And I am not going to apologize for my passions. Also, I am desperate for a creative outlet. There is no script, so we're just gonna get down to it. Snow White, the lady with two names that aren't names, but have many different renditions, remakes, looks to her that we are going to go through and see how long this even takes. We are going to ride together. So what is a princess even? By Wikipedia, it means the daughter of a monarch. Now, what is a Disney princess? Well, it is 16, 17, I lost count. On the Disney Princess Wikipedia page, there are officially 13 Disney princess, 13 official Disney princesses. Snow White, Cinderella, Aurora, Ariel, Belle, Jasmine, Pocahontas, Mulan, Tiana, Rapunzel, Merida, Moana, Raya. Now you're probably thinking about, wait, you skipped over Anna and Elsa. I know, it's because they are listed as honorary official princesses. I guess they haven't officially gone into the main line, so they're still under the honorary category, as well as Elena and Mirabelle. I guess that makes sense. Technically, Mirabelle is a princess, so are her sisters, and I guess her cousin Dolores, because they're a magical freaky family. There are officially 10 live action princesses, which I'm a little bit sketched out because the ones listed but don't have movies out yet, I mean, be it Snow White, her movie has been announced. I guess so has Moana. Moana's listed on here, but also Rapunzel and Tiana are also listed as live action princesses, so I guess we have their movies to look forward to as well. Yay. Now, to understand the princess, we must understand her origins. So those origins go back to the story Snow White, a German fairy tale by Brothers Grimm, which is funny considering the original title is just Snow White, not Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. So when did it become Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs? Well, with some quick Googling, I've discovered that the name of the story Snow White wasn't changed into Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs until Walt Disney made his version of it. So Walt Disney is the reason we know it as Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Isn't that interesting? I need to give you a quick disclaimer. I am not a historian. I am just a fan. And if there are any people who say otherwise about what I'm researching on Google, you're more than welcome to call me out. In the Brothers Grimm version, we are introduced to her real mother in the beginning. She is sewing and she pricks herself you know, like we all do, and she drops blood on the snow, and she's just snowing outside, and she just goes, "Ugh, man, I really want a daughter that has skin as white as snow, lips red as blood. Mom gives birth, she dies, dad remarries. Oh no, he married a witch." This witch is beautiful. In every iteration of Snow White, she is a beautiful woman, but with an ugly heart and soul. The one thing that makes her day, helps her sleep at night, is knowing that she is beautiful, she is fair, and that everyone else knows it. And she gets a stepdaughter, and this stepdaughter happens to be a beautiful young lady. And the queen happens to go to her magic mirror and ask the mirror, who is the fairest one of all? Mirror says, it's Snow White this time. And the ego that shoots out of her is intense, so much that she wants to just get rid of her. So we already see some differences in the Brothers Grimm and Disney version. In the Brothers Grimm, we are introduced to her real mother. In Disney, we are introduced to the evil stepmother, just right away going to her magic mirror. So going further into the Grimm's Brothers version, there are so many different ways that the queen tries to off Snow White that I wish would have been in the Disney version. So the first way she tries is she presents Snow White with a bunch of colorful bodices, like corsets, and she tries to lace her up so tightly to cut off her circulation and suffocate her, and Snow White faints, and she, I guess, runs away. The dwarves instantly cut her laces off, you know, very Jack Sparrow and Elizabeth Swann, and Snow White's okay. The second time the queen tries to get her is by trying to sell her a comb that is laced with poison. Go figure. And then finally, this queen disguises herself as a farmer's wife and offers Snow White the poisoned apple. So this is where the apple comes in, and it's the same thing. She takes a bite, goes down, dwarves are upset, puts her in a glass coffin, and then the prince comes along. And of course, we all want to know the ending. Snow White gets revived by the prince, and she gets married, and then she gets to take revenge on her evil, bitchy stepmother. Oh, and it's the best version, I wish, was in the Disney movie. Snow White, our sweet, demure Snow White, forces her stepmother to put on very hot iron shoes and forces her to dance until she dies. Go her. We love a boss queen. We love a new rich princess boss queen. And then it also says the wedding peacefully continues. So they let her lay there roasting and they continue the ceremony. That is the most romantic thing I have ever heard. If you were to ask someone, who is your favorite Disney princess, what answer would you get? What answers I've gotten have been Ariel, Belle, and Rapunzel. And I'm like, what do you think about Snow White? Ugh, I hate Snow White. She's so boring. She's so old. She's so nice. And all she wanted was the prince. Oh my gosh, I can't talk without touching my hair. Yes, Snow White is nice. As she should be. She is a bean. She has always been my favorite Disney princess since I was a kid. I watched her movie more than all the Disney princess movies. I was just so enamored and enraptured by her. I would go to Disneyland a lot when I was a kid, back when the prices were reasonable-ish. And I would always want to visit the princesses, and Snow White, I always had to visit her. And I remember a few times she would call me her best friend. especially when I dressed up like her. So I do consider Snow White to be my best friend. Thank you very much. Canonically, she is a very young teenager. And the prince, canonically, I'd say 18, 19, 20, maybe more back in those days. So yeah, it was a different time. Penny! Disclaimer, I must say the reason my camera moves around so much is my cat is taking a liking to the tripod. Now, the argument that she just wants a prince. No. She wants to get the hell out of her toxic situationship with her evil stepmother. And I mean, her father isn't around to help her out. So the father is dead. He's gone. And she wants out of her toxic environment. And the first thing that happens to come along is a man on a horse. Yes, she is scared. She is nervous. She runs away, as we all would. And then he sings to her. I mean, yes, this is unrealistic. It's a fairy tale. But he sings to her, and he sings beautifully. And she takes to him, and they exchange a dove, which I don't think is very sanitary, but go on. They had a meeting. They got along. They liked each other. I know I remember being 14, 15 years old and thinking the guy I had a crush on in high school was gonna be my everything. But no. Maybe for some, not me. Now, while many say that Snow White is so nice and so gentle, she also does have a bit of a spicy streak to her. When she gathers the men to have supper, she asks them if they've cleaned themselves, if they've washed, had a bath. And they're all like, yeah. At some point we did. And she gets very demanding about how they should be clean before they sit at the table. And she will not give them any food if they don't wash up. Now that is, I'd say, very, very motherly of her. Like, she is a motherly type princess. And I feel like there's not many of them that are motherly, maybe sisterly, but she has a very calming, nurturing presence. One of the reasons I like to visit her at Disneyland were her hugs and her kind, sweet voice. So, yeah, I gotta say that is a win for her. Maybe it's like a form of gentle parenting that she's doing, but it gets the job done. Granted, she doesn't help them out. I mean, they're grown men, so she doesn't need to do any more than that. As much as I want to talk about the dwarfs, I don't want it to break into the controversy that's going on right now. I'd rather stay out of it. This is solely about Snow White, princesses. Maybe at some point there will be a video all about that. Maybe not. We'll see. I don't know. Now, the one controversy I am very critical about is how Rachel is portraying Snow White in her interviews. I can feel that she's definitely just having fun with the media. I think maybe she has a different view on the character that she's playing. But when I Google symbolism in Snow White, there's only 3 things that really stand out. Penny, chill. Cat is going insane. Now, of course, there are more than 3 things, but the 3 main things that pop up are white being her name, which represents purity. So she is supposed to be a sweet little thing. You know, she is hardworking. She cleans. She loves to clean. She loves to cook. Maybe it's not something she loved to do, but it's something she knew how to do, and it's something she knew well, and it brings her joy. Sweeping and cleaning And washing the whole cottage, that was her joy. Cooking for a bunch of people she thought were children, like people she didn't know. Cooking full meals for them out of the purity and goodness of herself, of her heart. She is meant to be a gentle character. Second color, red, representing life and adventure. And that is a very powerful color to represent life. While we may not see the adventures she has in Disney's version, we must also acknowledge her representation in Once Upon a Time, in Snow White and the Huntsman, in Mirror Mirror. There are many representations that she's in, and they're all great, and they all make sense. And if you want to debate any of that with me, please comment down below all your thoughts. We are going to get into it. And of course, the third color, black, representing death. Which death is a big part of this story and the original and all the representations of Snow White. And it also makes me think about the maiden, the mother, and the crone. Snow White being the maiden, young, gentle, virtuous. The mother, who's definitely had some life experience, and she is raising a child to be hopefully a better version of herself, but there is no mother. It is her stepmother who refuses to be a good mother to Snow White. She wants her gone. She's like, I'm the only beautiful one in this kingdom. That's when the crone comes in, being the older version of the queen, but it definitely represents how she does not age like fine wine. When she drinks that spell, she immediately becomes very ugly and graggly, harsh, and just unpleasant. And that's another thing, is that Snow White is heavily woman-based. It's about Snow White and the queen. And yes, the 7 men and the prince, but they're mostly side characters. It's all about Snow White and the queen. It's all about the mother-daughter dynamic. We didn't see the mother-daughter dynamic in Disney's version. It was princess, jealous queen. Of course, all of this makes me very skeptical about seeing the live-action remake, as I'm sure it has made all of us hinder away from even getting pre-sale tickets. With Disney being the way they are right now, they're just not listening to their fan base, their customers, just no one but the higher executives. But we don't need to get into all that. In conclusion, Snow White is the mother of the Disney princess line. She is the foundation. She is the essence. And she is really what most of us would think of if someone said Disney princess. At least she's definitely one of the ones you would think of, especially if you're thinking of the whole group of princesses. But she's definitely up top. And I really do believe that Snow White deserves to be respected. She just deserves it. Yes, I know she is a fictional character, but she has created so much influence for girls and women, such as myself. Anyways, this is something new I'm trying out. If there's anything you want to discuss more, anything you want to hear, please comment down below. If there's any subjects you want to know about or hear me talk about, comment, like, subscribe, follow me on Instagram, follow me on TikTok. I will link everything down below. Thank you and have a nice day. Toodaloo.